Hello, happy new month, and welcome to this week's edition of the talk show. I remain Elijah Tanimola. As you know, on the show, we discuss on issues related to relationship, marriage, and lifestyle. And I'm so glad with the feedbacks we've received so far. I'm happy that it's transforming lives and blessing many homes. Like I've always said, that the goal of this show is that our present realities will transform to God's ideal for our lives. And I say that God's ideal for our lives is that we enjoy heaven on earth. God's ideal for our marriages is that we enjoy heaven on earth marriage. Nothing less, nothing short of that. And I want you to always put that before you. Don't let that leave your gaze. Make it your focus. Irrespective of the challenges you are facing, irrespective of the situation you are facing right now, always understand that ideal of God for your marriage is accessible and you can always enjoy it. Don't give up on your situation. Don't give up on your marriage. Press on to that ideal and maximize the fullness of God's purpose and plan for the marriage institution. This month, I'll be dealing with the subject intimacy. It will be a series throughout this month, and I trust that at the end of this month, your marriages, your relationship will enjoy better intimacy than you have ever experienced before. The Bible says in Genesis chapter 2 verse 24, God speaking, he said, "For this cause a man shall leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they two shall become one flesh." That one flesh is talking about a perfect level of intimacy, and that is God's ideal for our lives. That is what God wants us to enjoy. And I'll be dealing with various factors that can influence intimacy, that can help us to enjoy this ideal, that can help us to attain this ideal. This week, I'll be dealing with the subject communication and intimacy. How communication can influence our intimacy and help us to enjoy God's ideal, which is one flesh. We must understand that a person can be physically close to you and yet not intimate with you. And a person can be physically distant from you and yet very intimate with you. Why? This is because intimacy is built in the mind and flows through the mind. Someone that lives in your mind and is frequent to your mind occupies an intimate position in your life. And this is very important for us to understand. Another thing is this: how can we now say that communication has influence or is a major factor that influences intimacy? We must understand that the main pathways to our mind has to go along with communication. Our eyes, our ears, our mouth, they are sense organs that we use to express communication. What we see, what we hear, what we speak about, those are verbal and non-verbal aspects of communication. And we must understand that if we want to penetrate into the mind of our spouses and occupy a significant place there that will build our intimacy, that will make our intimacy strong, we must master effective communication. We must improve on our communication skill. Communication process has to do with the sender, the message, the encoder, and then the medium and the channel through which the message will pass through to the receiver, and then the receiver must be able to decode the message and perhaps give a feedback. And we must understand this, that if we want to communicate effectively in order to maximize and to experience and to attain that strong and high level of intimacy, we must master this process of communication. You have not communicated effectively until you have sent a message in a language and through a medium that the receiver can successfully and seamlessly decode. It is very important. The what, the how, and the when of communication. What do you communicate? It is very important for us to understand what to communicate. In order to penetrate and have access into the mind of our spouses, we must communicate what they are interested in. Don't discuss on subject that repels your spouse if you want to actually penetrate into his or her mind. I want to tell you that everybody has an area that they are really interested in. Even the most of introverts, they have subjects that when you start discussing about it may be politics, it may be marriage, it may be ministry, it may be any subject. Once you start discussing about it, something triggers in them for them to participate in the communication, and you must understand the what of communication. Then the how, which is very important, because you may have the right thing to say and yet not communicate it in the right way. And this is why it is very important for us to understand the how. As a husband, you must communicate and encode your message with a language of love. The Bible says, husband, love your wives. Your wife needs love. She needs to be loved. She needs to feel she's loved. So when you are communicating to her, encode your message in the language of love and transmit it through the medium of respect, maybe verbally or non-verbal communication, but transmit it in a way, in the medium that she can easily decode and then give the right feedback. You must understand this. You cannot communicate with your wife as a master communicates with a slave and expect you to penetrate into her mind and reside there to build intimacy. It cannot work that way. Because that way you are tampering with her ego. You can't be subjugating your wife and expect her to invite you into the place, the sacred place of intimacy in her heart and in her mind. No, it cannot work that way. And we must understand this, that communication is effective when the receiver can understand your message. And that is why you must communicate in simple and clear terms. Don't be ambiguous with your statement. Communicate in simple and clear terms that will not give room for misunderstandings or assumptions. And for the wife, you must communicate with your husband you must encode your message in a language or with a language of submission and transmit it through the medium of respect. The husband wants to be respected. He wants to know that his wife is submissive. That way, he will understand and will not misunderstand your communication. The another thing is the when. Know the right time to communicate. Then what other factor can influence our communication? Ask questions. A lot of people, they don't ask relevant questions. They don't. When husbands and wives do not ask relevant questions, they give room for misunderstanding. They give you some assumptions, and these assumptions can linger on and create a certain resistance between both parties. A lot of people, when they feel pained concerning a sensitive issue with their spouse, they think they have moved on without communicating, without discussing about that particular thing. They assume that they have moved on, but what really happens is that pain has only been stored in a mental archive, that if it continues that way without clarity, it will soon burst out and can cause a major chaos in your mind. That is why sometimes little things, husbands and wives can break up or divorce, or seem that their marriage is irreparable because of something that they feel is little. But that little thing is not the main thing. It is the little that has accumulated and stored and been added to the mental archive of pains that has been built up. And we must understand this. Ask relevant questions. Ask questions about your intimacy, about your spouse. Ask him, ask her, how do you want me to touch you? Do you like this touch? Are you feeling pain? How can I help you? How can I be of help? What do you need me to do? So many times women communicate in non-verbal terms and they expect their husband to decode their communication. It is important for the man to actually build himself in a high to be sensitive enough to decode his wife's non-verbal communication. But I want the women to also understand this. We are not all knowing. We can't know everything that is going on in your mind. So please do us the favor of communicating in simple and clear terms that we can get and understand. Now, even in terms of sexual intimacy, that's where I'm going to now. In terms of sexual intimacy, a lot of wives communicate in non-verbal terms. We are not all knowing. We don't know these things. So the best we can do at times is for us to ask, what is happening? Did I do anything wrong? I asked my wife that question so many times. Perhaps she's having a mood swing and I'm like, what is happening? Did I do anything wrong? What can I do? And so many times you say, I'm fine. But it is very important for us husbands to understand that most of the time they will say they are fine because they don't know how to express what they are feeling. But when we stay on that subject and ask other leading questions, we might bring out what they really want to express that they could not express verbally. Communicate your non-verbal expressions. Communicate it verbally. Learn to communicate it verbally once in a while. Please do that. A lot of times, perhaps my wife wants to just cuddle and I feel it's an invitation to have sex. So many times I misunderstand that non-verbal communication. And we must understand this, that so many times we don't know what is going on in your mind. And it is very important for you to communicate to us in a way that we can understand. And also it is very important for all, in order to build our sexual intimacy, which is very important, it is very important to know, to master effective communication and to communicate how we are feeling, what we need. Communicate what you need. Don't be shy of communicating that. Don't be afraid of communicating that. A relationship that is built on fear will not experience the height of intimacy that God designed. A woman said she can't even look at her husband when they are having sex. She has to off the light. She can't touch her husband's manhood and things like that. And I'll be like, if you can't do that, how can you now communicate what you need? Is that reference? No, that is not reference. That is being afraid. Referencing your husband does not deter you from expressing your sexual need. Communicate it in plain terms. Touch me in this place. This is where I want you to touch me. I'm feeling horny. Can we go down? Communicate in clear terms. Don't make the man assume that you are enjoying the show when you are not enjoying the show. A lot of times, a husband can feel, he can after the sexual act, he may feel like a superhero, while the woman is saying in her mind, thank God it's over. She's just managing it. She's just enjoying it. And sometimes a lot of husbands assume that their wives do not like sex. But I'm saying that most of the time, it's not that the wife doesn't like sex, it's that the man has not been able to understand the sexuality of his wife and to be able to bring her into the ideal that God designed. A woman that has experienced orgasm before will long more for sexual acts. But if the first encounter she had, maybe your first night of marriage, is that she felt pained. She felt a lot of pain, and because you have not developed, you do not understand the right skill to make it easy for her. Then she has a resistance towards sex. And that resistance can go on in marriage, such that whenever you want to have sex, she is preparing her mind to endure that painful experience again. So she tries all her best to run away from sex, and you assume she doesn't like it. No, it's not that she doesn't like it. Her first experience or her first encounter has actually made her to crawl into a shell, that she feels that sex is painful. She has built a mental picture of sex that is wrong. So what they are doing in that marriage is not love making. What they are doing is baby making. So whenever they want to make babies, they come together and do the thing, and the woman lies down like a log of wood, like she's trying to endure the pain of a bit, like that's on a trying to endure the pain or the bitterness of a very sour drug. So she's there closing her eyes all together. She's trying to suppress the pain. And women, wives, understand this. This man may not even know. Every time he is feeling like a superhero because he lasted longer and he had a deep trust, and yet you are feeling pain. You are not enjoying yourself. Learn to communicate this way. I'm not enjoying it. I feel used. I don't feel loved. I don't feel it. I don't know. I feel there's something missing. Let's read up. Let's do this. Let's communicate with him in a way that he will understand. Remember, encoding your message with the language of love. If you in the language of submission, if you communicate this way, he will understand that it is not that you are resisting him, is that you are not enjoying it the way you ought to enjoy it. And we must understand this. We must build an atmosphere and an environment in our home that is free for us to communicate. A home that has too much formalities and protocols will not give room for you to communicate on sensitive matters like sexual intimacy. In so many couples find sexual discussion awkward. They can't talk about it. And really, I want to say this to those who are yet to be married: create an atmosphere where you can discuss about anything. I am not saying you should start discussing about deep sexual discussions that can arouse, that can get you aroused and lead you into things you shouldn't do. But I am saying that create an atmosphere already that can help you to actually blend and flow into deep sexual intimacy when you get married. And please start discussing, start communicating about it the first night of your marriage. I think that is what I've helped myself in my marriage, myself and my wife. We discuss about it as if it is a normal day conversation. If you don't build that atmosphere, you won't be able to even tease yourself sexually. A lot of marriages, the sexual act is like a protocol, it's like a formality, no spontaneity, nothing, because they have not been able to communicate effectively and to be able to create an atmosphere by which they can actually flow easily without any hindrance, without any fear or intimidation. You are walking past your spouse, you can't just tap her on the butt and just experience a kind of sexual connection. Except you go on the bed and she lies down like a log of wood and you do your thing and you feel like a superhero, and that's the only thing you do. That is not sexual intimacy. Sexual intimacy, lovemaking, has to do with understanding oneself and a feeling of connection. We must understand this and we must develop it. Talk about it. Don't fake it. People may be telling you you have to fake it to make it, but in this aspect, in this sexual intimacy, my dear, if you fake it, you can never make it. You can never experience that ideally if you continue to fake it. I understand that so many times wives want to fake orgasm so that their husband doesn't feel bad about themselves and things like that. But I'm telling you that you shouldn't fake it. Talk about it, discuss about it, tell him that you are not enjoying it, let him understand, tell him where you want him to touch you, tell him how you want him to touch you, discuss about it. Men too, discuss about it. And men, please, husbands, don't make your wife look awkward because she's discussing about these things. Some wives say they have the fear that their husband will look at them as if they are prostitutes. Then that man is having brain touch. Permit me to say that. That man doesn't understand. That man has not come to understand and to accept the intimacy that God designed for the marriage institution. The only person God permits you to flirt with, to be naked with, to be free with, without any form of intimidation and fear in all ramification, is your spouse, legally married wife and husband. Husbands, please understand this. Don't make your wife feel that she is a slut because she is expressing her sexual need. If you need to work on your mindset about sexual intimacy, work on it. Don't continue with this archaic mentality that is so awkward that you have not developed your sexual skill to ensure that your wife feels that connection of sexuality that you can enjoy your marriage. And wives too, don't make your husband crawl into a shell because you are too intimidated to initiate sex. So many times husbands feel repelled, feel that they are demanding too much when the wife doesn't take initiative to initiate sex. Who came about this awkward and this wrong expression that it's only the husband that should be initiating sex? Both parties, the Bible says, they were both naked and were not ashamed. They were naked and were not ashamed. Both parties have the right to express their sexual need in the marriage institution without fear, without intimidation. They have the right. Express it verbally, express it non-verbally. I understand that if you are married and you have not built and you have not started communicating sexually before, it may be hard for you to start communicating now, but you have to start from somewhere. Start softly. See your spouse's response. Start softly. You can devise a means, get a book on sexuality, good book. I can recommend The Act of Marriage by Tim LaHaye and The Modern Marriage by Dago. You can get those books and ensure that both of you read it together, or also listen to this kind of intimacy, this kind of messages, and listen together in order to be able to be freer to discuss and to communicate about this subject. Communicate before, during, and after sex. Before is not compulsory that you are thinking of having sex or going to the act, or you are just discussing. Sometimes myself and my wife will do that. We just talk about it. How can we improve on our sexual life? What do you think I should do better? How do you think I should improve? How do you want me to improve? What is your expectation? And things like that. You can just discuss that. And during the sexual act too, you should communicate. Communicate how you want your spouse to touch you, where you want him or her to touch you. Communicate during that act. Ask questions. Are you enjoying it? And also, when you understand and you have mastered, I'll still do a talk on the subject of love making during this series. But when you understand the act of love making, you will also be able to read a non-verbal signs to know whether she is enjoying it or not. And wives, please be creative. Don't just lie down like a log of wood and the husband is just feeling like he's just servicing you and things like that. No. Be creative. Be spontaneous. Initiate it. Tell him how you want it. You can also move your body towards him, or move your body towards him or her in a way you want, where you want him or her to touch, where you need him or her most. You can direct his or her hand to where you need that touch most. That way you are communicating non-verbally in your sexual act, in the sexual act, and that way you are bonding in intimacy, sexual intimacy. That is what we call love making. You are making love, spiritual bonding, emotional bonding, mental bonding, physical bonding, all encompassing. That is love making. And communication is key to achieving this level of intimacy. After the act, you can also communicate. Discuss about the last show. How was that show? Did you enjoy it? And don't be shy to say whether you enjoy it or you don't enjoy it. Just make sure that, don't forget, you encode your message with the language of love. For the husband to the wife. For the wife, you encode your message with the language of submission and respect. If you feel used, talk about it. Why? And ask question, why did you feel used? I just feel it's only when we want to have sex that you move closer. I want to be cuddled more, but you don't give that and things like that. Seriously, he may not know. She may not know. You must understand this. Communicate it. You know, a lot of wives, they have built a lot of mental assumptions that their husband doesn't even have an idea about it. They say their husband doesn't like sex. Who told you? Maybe he has been the one initiating, and he feels that maybe he's demanding too much, and he feels, oh, maybe he's still making a toll on this woman. Because you are not creative, you are not spontaneous. So don't assume. A lot of people have a lot of assumptions in their head. That is why I say that ask questions. Don't assume. Talk. Clarify it. Communication gives room for clarity. And that clarity is very important for genuine and strong intimacy. In order for you to enjoy God's idea for intimacy in your marriage, the two shall become one flesh. You need to master the art of effective communication. I trust that you have been able to get something in this episode, and I believe that as you put these things to work, your marriage will experience better realities. Your marriage will move towards the ideal of God for the marriage institution, which is heaven on earth marriage. Hopefully after this series I'll be coming out with a book that you can read comprehensively to get more details about these things, and I trust that it will be a blessing to your life. I will come your way next week with another important factor that can influence intimacy, and you don't want to miss that. Thank you for tuning in tonight. God bless you. Stay safe, and bye for now.